Look, it took a long time, but it finally happened. The Fantasy Points Data Suite is live for your enjoyment right now. And I cannot encourage everyone enough to head over there, get yourself a subscription, because $50 after this week is going to end up being an absolute steal. That's not totally why we're here today. Today, we continue our quest for, well, making a whole bunch of money through our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. And today, we have brought James Cook enthusiast Derek Brown back to the arena. Get locked in, because today we take down Best Ball Mania 4 on the Best Ball Breakdown. Look, if you're new here, we don't blame you for that, but make sure you're hitting the sub, because people like Earn Marks here definitely is not new here. He is already proclaiming that Derek will find a way in a very Justin Ross-esque to try and get James Cook, who has never been drafted on the Best Ball Breakdown, onto a roster for the first time. We also want to shout out Toronto Dave, who's always here. Shout out TD. Dan Brown in the game tonight. Derek, what are you expecting from the draft this evening?
I'm just happy that I get to look at Graham's beautiful face. I don't have to listen to Barrett talk about Travis Kelce for the 10,000th freaking time on this show. So it's a good day, fam. It's a really good day.
Hey, I'm excited to not talk to Scott tonight too. So
and you know what?
I hope he watches this back,
because everyone else is saying it. I get to be on my own show today. So you know what? We're riding on the Best Ball Breakdown hard.
so
but we
good.
do
Scott knows I loved him.
We do want
Not even 5 minutes in, and we can slander Barrett. We can just stop the show. We already won.
Yeah, it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. We drafted the most interesting team of all time last week, though. That was a crazy ass Chiefs team.
Was that the
Right.
one?
I wish I
Chiefs
could have been
one
a
where
part
y'all
of it.
leaned in with one tight end. Is
Yeah.
that it?
We were
Yeah,
going to,
I
but
saw
then we
that, and
took-
I was like,
we took
"Oh, this
too
is
many
gonna be
Chiefs wide
embarrassing."
receivers, and we were like,
Good
this doesn't
Lord.
work.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we did take too many Chiefs. Yeah. We won't do that tonight. This will be probably a Chiefs stack free. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Well, hey, let's find out what happens. We're going to ride into it. We got the screen share ready. We're ready to go. Chris is going to hit that button by the time we get back. So basically, if you want in your next couple of seconds, don't yell at me if you don't get in. Remember to find Chris at Chris Wecht FF so you can stop telling me how terrible I am at my job. All right? Thanks. All right, here you go. Here's your one shot, one opportunity, like 8 Mile. We're riding in
a few seconds there.
Mania 4 draft.
There's
Here
empty
we go.
spots in here. If you wanted to get in, you have plenty of time to get in.
A
Is
little
Mom's-
tibble
Is Mom
ripple.
spaghetti on your shirt, Thomas? Just curious.
Oh, hey. We don't waste the sauce in this house. We don't waste the sauce.
I
All
love
right.
the Eminem references. It's funny because we somehow wove a few Eminem lyrics into an article I wrote yesterday. This is glorious.
There
Hope
we
it's
go.
not
That's
fact.
what's up.
It's
Oh,
fact.
God. Now, those were some lyrical
Yeah.
genius. Look,
Derek, how many hours do you think you've spent in the Fantasy Points Data Suite since Monday?
I mean, I was in there like it doesn't really ever close, Chris. So it depends on like how are we going to quantify that? How often is it up on the screen versus how often am I clicking through it? I mean, I need some kind of quantifying
True.
factor here. I mean, since the first day of beta, somebody DM me a link that was not in your Discord, and they were like, "Hey, did you get this?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got that. I got that. I'm already looking at it."
What's been your favorite thing so far, just about the data suite as a whole?
Oh man,
Your favorite research tool, favorite stat, favorite filter. What is it?
I would say it's twofold. It's probably how you can parse out the production of wide receivers, both inline and slot.
Yeah.
Because I think that looking at how some of these, and we'll probably get into it, but looking at how some of these offenses are going to run this year, namely the Chargers, the Lions kind of stick out to me, and guys that get just so buried because they're slot only wide receivers, but their yards per route run are still like just strong on the outside. I like looking at that stuff to debunk just shitty narratives, but I'd say probably and Weck knows my favorite, one of my favorite things. I love the running, or as far as the run game, zone versus gap versus the defensive matchups and success rates and things like that, because that has led me to some really, really damn good weeks in DFS. And I think it's going to be something that people can exploit, whether you're looking at weekly props or matchups or rankings and things like that. And it's stuff that's like, that's not talked about. You know, we talked about defenses as a whole, but as far as like some defenses struggling versus outside zone runs versus inside zone or gap runs, and it speaks to not only like you don't have to have a deeper appreciation and understanding of how run games and defenses operate and why those things happen, but I just think it's another damn edge, man. So that's probably, if I want to highlight one thing, I think it's the run game stuff.
There is so much, and Chris can speak way more to this, but there's so much more that like we haven't gotten to yet, especially for like in-season tools like Chris and Scott and I and Brett. And I mean, we've been coming up with some insane ideas, and I hope we'll be able to get to quite a few of them. Chris.
My mouth's watering right now, Graham, about some of the things that I know y'all have coming as far as coverages and stuff like that. Like when that hits the site, I might not sleep, dude. I might not sleep. I'm just going to throw it out there.
That's the beauty of it. It can be, for someone like you, it can keep you up all night, and we're hoping to continue to make some of these tools super simple, and you know, anyone could just pop on and be like, oh, I see this is a good matchup. But then it can go as deep as guys like you, Scott, and Graham like to go and find the tiniest micro edges that, you know, can pay off sometimes.
Well, because I think if you look at the data suite to begin with, I think some people, especially if they're just now getting into analytics, could be overwhelmed by the amount of filters. But the thing about it is that like you don't have to start there. Like this thing is as deep or as simple as you want to make it, and really just dip your toe into the deep end as you go.
We're on the clock here.
I want AJB, but that's just me.
Diggs.
Well, we can go Diggs. I don't have a lot of exposure to Diggs, so I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with either of those guys.
Easier to get Josh Allen in the third.
I do take Devontae Adams here, actually, sometimes.
I have, and I've been gravitating.
But you can get him sometimes. It's hard to take him when you know you can get him. Yeah, you can get him in the second round a lot.
I've been taking a lot more AJB recently, only because after I looked at or revisited the first and second half discrepancies between the Eagles and their game scripts and stuff, like there's another level for this passing attack to access this year. Like Jalen Hurts
played in like no close games.
They played in no close yards. Yeah, like I mean seriously, like if we look at like AJ Brown and Smith's production, and it's like, wow, that's really freaking good. And like, well, aren't they kind of topped out? It's like, no, if the Eagles play more competitive games, they will throw more. And we know where the ball's going. It's like 3 dudes in the passing game. That's it. Because they don't throw the running backs.
Yep, exactly. Did I miss some Nick Chubb news today? He just went at the 1.9 right before us.
Really starting to creep
up, the steam is heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I've had him ahead of ADP up until like now. I mean, I was hammering him when he was going like 19, 20. Garrett Wilson or JT for me. I'm not taking Waddle here.
No Waddle.
Who do we go with? We went with Diggs first.
Yeah.
I'm fine with going Garrett. I mean,
let's go Wilson.
Whatever.
Yeah, zero.
Yeah,
it's pretty. That's a nice pairing.
I mean,
it's funny. I was going to come in here and make the conversation piece of starting as a leverage piece, starting RB, but then we go wide receivers.
Well, when Nick Chubb goes at the 1.9, that's kind of about the way.
That's fair.
Chubb going at 1.9, Bijan at 1.8 too.
I can't get behind Chubb at 1.9. There's just
same
at RB4. You're taking.
I love him in the second round.
But guys, did you not see the workout video?
That's right.
Every workout video.
It is insane. Yeah, he's insane.
Nothing's
Dude.
different about that. Chubb's always been a monster. Like he eats nails for breakfast.
Dude, he was there was a clip of him in May. He was like power cleaning 465. Like power cleaning 465.
That's insane, dude. He's just
Most
made
people
it
can't
something
squat
totally different.
465. Like
No, that would break me.
Derek,
I
you'll
would-
appreciate this. Brett sent me the video of Chubb doing the bench, and he was complaining why everybody shouldn't be freaking out about the barbell bending because it's supposed to do that.
Yeah, it's supposed
yeah,
to
it's
do
supposed
that.
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're built to, they're
There's
literally
no way in
built for
hell
that.
you're gonna put four bills on a damn bar and it doesn't move. That doesn't happen. Like anybody commenting about that, you've never seen anybody lift heavy.
That's how you know Chris is just like a data nerd spreadsheet dude staring at a screen all the time because he confused the bench with
Whatever.
the squat.
You can't see.
I'm just
Wex-
saying.
You can't see Wex
I don't-
freaking ham
I
hock
don't
legs,
leave-
dude.
I don't
That
leave
dude can
this
squat
chair.
600 pounds. I'm just throwing it out there. You
Graham's
can't
had
see
you-
it, but it's there.
Graham's had you contractually obligated to only leave that chair for 10 minutes a day for 2 years.
There's a belt. It unlocks at certain times. That's what I'm allowed to-
He's got a timing.
He's got a
chastity
pee
belt.
bottle. He's got multiple pee bottles. Let's be honest here. Got to have multiple.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. Weck has monster calves too because he has one of those little treadmills under his desk.
No, I wish.
That's
Thomas has been rendered speechless. Oh, this is gonna be fun, man.
I can't wait. This is phenomenal. Show everyone the start. We're a couple rounds deep in this already. We have a Diggs Wilson start. I don't know if we've ever gone receiver. It's always either been receiver running back or we've been, held at gunpoint to draft Kelsey and then some running back and then usually getting our first receiver in like the 5th round somehow. So this is a different start for us.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever drafted a 0 RB team, and the way
Not
this room is going, it potentially
Yes,
could
sir.
happen.
I love it.
Not a true 0 RB
totally
team
fine.
anyway. I think we tried a
Oh,
hero
we
RB
can go
team.
full 0, baby. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, now Jacobs goes off. Derek, are you scared off of Jacobs or Barkley at all? Are you just basically still taking them where they go?
Yes, I am scared off, but not because of the freaking contract stuff. I'm
Okay,
scared
so
off of Barkley, and it's funny that you brought him up because I was like, if we talked about him, I was actually I tweeted this the other day, man, but as well as I do, he played terribly down the back end of the season. Like he was one of the most inefficient running backs in the NFL. Like yards after contact per attempt, elusive rating, breakaway rate, like all of the things and stuff. He was
Hold up,
bottom
real quick,
5 in
We're on
everything.
the clock here.
Yeah. I like
I like
Cooper.
these 3.
Yeah, I like Cooper here.
I want Judy.
Cooper, we can stack with Watson. We need some stack ups.
I mean, if we want to go correlation, that's fine with Cooper. I think straight up
And it's
stealing, I
it's
prefer
the
Judy.
Wilson Week 17 matchup too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we might be able to get Judy here. Because I bet you Najee and Gibbs go off the board before
They
they
will.
come back around.
Debo sometimes sneaks back around here too. By the way, Debro, how do you have these receivers ranked? This is like a really tricky pocket. Ridley versus Cooper versus Debo and Judy.
I've
And
got
Watson. I think you can throw Watson in that group too.
Yeah, you could throw Watson in that group. I've got Debo buried in my ranks. I think you're way higher on him, Graham. And so I'd love to hear the pro Debo conversation because, I mean, Debo just like after CMC got there, they took away all of his money touches, man. Like no red zone work, no deep work. His ADOT dropped to crap. Like he basically was just a PPR wide receiver 3 type on a run first offense. Like,
yeah, I think the injuries were a big part of that last year. I mean, he was basically not healthy.
Could be.
He was basically not healthy until like he had like 3 or 4 injuries after week 7. In terms of yards per route run, like he's always been like a top 12 player by yards per route run, despite horrible quarterback play. And last year, finally got good quarterback play, but he wasn't healthy. So that's,
I think Brandon Ayuk is a damn stud or a future alpha too. Like
but if you
look at, Ayuk looks amazing.
If you look at games where Purdy started, Debo's target share was like 29%.
Yeah,
His
but I mean, it was like 4 yards
30%.
and a dump off and dust.
That's
Like,
good, yeah, because Purdy is
he gets
bad
no
and
deep
they
targets.
need to give him touch.
Yeah, we can get Judy here.
Judy, please, Judy. Give me the Judy.
One guy I haven't been taking hardly at all, especially an underdog, is Jahmyr Gibbs. Like
I'm not.
It's hard on Underdog.
Really hard.
Why
I like
take
him quite a
David
bit.
Montgomery. Like
I
I don't get it.
I like him quite a bit in PPR, like DraftKings or drafters.
Yeah.
Swift was wasn't he? What did he finish at in PPR? He was pretty high up there.
RB17.
Yeah,
he was like RB17
with like not playing a lot, and they're gonna play Gibbs.
Yeah,
they're gonna play Gibbs, but I wonder what their I wonder what his red zone rushing share is, and the other part about that is they use their tight ends a lot in the red zone. So I think like having a better tight end, what does Sam Laporta do in that aspect too? So I have a hard time going with Gibbs, and a lot of it, like I kind of teased it earlier, like there's a lot of, because of how people are drafting on Underdog, I think there's 2 or 3 big leverage points versus like the consensus. And one of those is starting RB because it's so much more popular to start heavy wide receiver. Like legit in this draft, only one team has RB. So I think you're going to be different from a lot of the field. But the other part of that is I am just massively obsessed with the second-year wide receivers and the rookie wide receivers. Like I feel like they are big leverage points for me, because if we knew that Christian Watson, like if we knew Jordan Love was good, Watson would be going sooner. He'd be going where Olave and who am I blanking on? Olave and Garrett Wilson are going. If we knew that Love was good. And these rookie wide receivers, now I'm kind of curious. Now maybe we don't do this because we're going 0 RB here, but I have been trying to hammer when I can, and it's possible if you get picks to do it. I have been hammering the combo of JSN and QJ as much as I possibly can, because it's possible to get both of them. They're priced as wide receiver 3s, and the only reason they're priced as wide receiver 3s is because their target competition outlook is murky. But I mean, we talk about it like ad nauseum in the fantasy space that like targets are earned. Well, shit, if they're high-end target earners and they're like the first round draft pedigree is real, then why can't they be wide receiver 2s in their offense? Much less we play ranges of outcomes of running backs and we say, well, this guy is one injury away. QJ and JSN, if they are high-end target earners or they are as good as their first-round draft pedigree suggests, both of them are one injury away from being wide receiver 2 or 3s and crushing their damn ADPs. So, like, we've seen it for enough years in a row, man. Like, rookie wide receivers crush, and people still, I think, are lagging behind. So I'm trying to get as much QJ and JSN, like that combo, much less like one of them in a draft, as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, JSN's a little pricey for me on Underdog compared to, like, I have a lot of him on DraftKings because he's cheaper.
Yeah, I like JSN quite a bit more in PPR too. My concern with him is he catches like 80 balls and like, maybe gets to 1,000 yards, but only scores like 5 touchdowns. And on Underdog, that's probably a fine pick in the 6th round.
Mm-hmm.
But
all right, what do we want to do here?
So one thing to keep in mind real quick, the guy behind us, McNutty, is also going 0 RB. He has 4 straight receivers. So if we feel strongly about a back here, we should get him. I like Miles Sanders the most out of all of
I
these
think
dudes,
it's either JSN or J.K. Dobbins.
I was going to say Dobbins for sure in a half PPR.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I mean, 10 touchdowns should be.
That's fine.
So, Graham, I need to hear what's your worries about Dobbins, because I'm big on Dobbins. I want to have that convo.
I mean, he's coming back from one of the worst knee injuries of all time. He's, was not healthy in the summer. They brought back Gus Edwards. He's never been a big pass catcher. This new offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, man, I mean, I think they're going to go a lot more pass heavy. So I think his rushing share is, going to dip just as a, percentage of, team overall touches. It will be the same. I think the rushing volume will dip. I think he's like a quintessential dead zone back. I think I have him in the 7th round. I have David Montgomery out of him, man. Like,
oh wow.
I'm not playing. I'm not. I think the ceiling is still there. Absolutely. Like, if he gets all the red zone work, but I'm not confident about that either. I think Gus Edwards will.
So,
by the way, Miles Sanders, Frank Reich has told us that Miles Sanders is a 3-down back. Like,
coach speak my ass. The thing with Dobbins is that offense is just going to be better, and you have to imagine that the new offense in place is going to have design touches for running backs out of the backfield. And if you're going to tell me that it's Gus Edwards also coming off pretty serious knee injury and Justice Hill.
I'm gonna pull the guest card. Can we draft Dameon Pierce since we broke the running back seal? Or if we want to go Ayuk, one of those. But I would really
I
like
think
to
we
get
should go
Dameon
back.
Here.
Yeah, we should get it back here.
I really want to go Dameon
I don't
Pierce,
feel
and I'll make the
strongly
case
about
for him in
any
a
of
second.
I don't feel strongly about any of these receivers, especially for this team. We're so strong with those 4. Like, we really don't need a fifth here. Like, what's Ayuk?
So Dobbins had the highest inside the 5, inside the 10 snap rates of all the backs on the Ravens. So that might point to them in the games he played anyway. So it definitely might point to them. It's not by much, like it's like 40% inside the 5. They definitely do weird things with the fullbacks and whatnot.
But then if you go and look at his rookie year too, at the end of the year was the same way. They used him at the goal line more than anybody else.
All I'm saying is I just think the gulf between Dobbins and Edwards makes no sense. I think the markets are like completely over.
But Edwards goes too.
So
I would agree.
That Dobbins is like the clear guy.
Edwards was really good in that system. He can run north and south really well. Anything outside of that they've ever asked him to do, he struggles with. So I think he benefited the most from Greg Roman's system, and thankfully he's no longer there.
I'll give the pro Dobbins argument. If you look over Todd Monken's last 2 years as an OC, he fed top 10 opportunity shares to Nick Chubb, but also Peyton Barber. I think that we're drafting Dobbins near his floor in the sense of there's still some, well, what about them using Gus? What about them using a third back like Justice Hill? But Monken in his recent history has shown he goes with one dude. So I think they're going to lean on J.K. Dobbins. And when he's been healthy, I mean, a year after the ACL, so he had the cleanup, we're a year post. These guys that are second year after the ACL, it's where we see, the list is pretty substantial of guys that we see come back from that and play really damn good in their second years post ACL. And Dobbins, when he's been healthy, I mean, last year on one damn leg, he was one of the most explosive backs in the NFL from efficiency metrics. And his rookie season, hell, he was top at almost everything. So I think there's so many things that I love about Dobbins. 1, Monken leaning on one dude. 2, his efficiency stats. And 3, he's second year post ACL and he's in a contract year. He wants to freaking ball out. I have Dobbins as a top 15 back. Maybe it's crazy, but I'm over the moon on him, and I love Dameon Pierce, man. Dameon Pierce, if there's a guy that just could come out of where it seems like not nowhere, but with all of the Houston Texans stink, their offensive line is going to play better this year. We are going to get some actual creativity. CJ Stroud is going to run a better offense than Davis Mills ever could. And I kind of feel like if we weren't so wide receiver heavy, if you were to go back 2 or 3 years, Dameon Pierce would be one of the guys that a lot of people would be hyping. You have a lot of San Francisco influences. So I think they are going to run the ball a lot there to ease in CJ Stroud. And Dameon Pierce, I mean, he blows the roof off of almost every efficiency metric that you look at. I'm not worried about Devin Singletary. That dude is he's had his time. He's okay. He got more run than he should have in Buffalo because they trusted him more than they trusted any other back. I think Dameon Pierce, nobody should be surprised if he walks out of this season and he's an RB1.
Yeah, it's weird. He goes, he almost feels like the type of rookie that was a waiver wire ad last year.
Yeah.
And not drafted in. How high did he end up getting? 3rd or 4th round?
Yeah. 3rd round, 4th round. Yeah. I mean, when the hype was high, right before week 1, he was a 3rd round pick. And now he's going around dead zone backs like freaking Alexander Madison. You can't pay me to draft Alexander Madison. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No
way
in hell.
Yeah. I'm not Madison. Yeah. I'm not taking Pierce or Madison over Pierce either. My biggest concern though is Pierce is not a good pass protector, probably not good on passing downs. Singletary certainly can play there. By the way,
I'll push back on that.
I was a huge Dameon Pierce fan. Well,
we're on the clock.
We're on the clock.
I wish we had a Jaguar on our team to take Trevor Lawrence.
Damn it, same too.
We could take Zay
Ingram.
Jones.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could take Ingram after.
Let's go Law.
Let's
go T-Law because we could get Ingram.
Yeah,
And
we
you can
take
even
Zay
get
Jones,
a
too.
late Carolina guy as the run
Yep.
back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love that.
Where,
I do
Chris,
think
show,
you're right
Show
with-
running backs real quick. Once you're done with that.
yeah, I just wanted to see. Do we have to take Ingram here? 'Cause our next pick will be
What,
106.
105? Yeah, we probably will.
Yeah, we'll have to take him. We just have to
Yeah.
hope that he falls. But if not, we could take Zay, and we could take like.
I'm
Tank
fine with
later.
Ingram because I'm not in love with any of these backs here, especially with our team.
I mean, we could take
What's
Tank.
the? Oh no, I hate the backs here, man. Well,
Yeah.
outside of Kamara, I do like Kamara a lot. I will say that.
Not in the 8th round though.
No. Who are we just fighting about? Damian Pierce or no? Somebody else.
We're deciding about
I
Ingram.
I don't see anybody else really. Honestly, I kind of like the play.
It's got to be Evan, unless McNutty is here in the chat and didn't say anything, which would be deviant as hell.
Ingram.
Yeah,
If
fine.
we weren't doing this, we could go like Elijah Moore and then get Watson's gone. Never mind.
Watson's gone. Yeah. Watson would have been a smash with. That's what I wanted with Cooper, but this is fine too. It's interesting. It's very unique. That's for sure because we got two.
Honestly, I've been doing that in a lot of my teams, like especially when I draft like Anthony Richardson or Deshaun or somebody like that. Like to me, one of the easiest correlations to make, like if you're making the bet that the offense is really damn good, then touchdown equity is going to trickle down to the tight end position. So like just going with a cheap, like skinny stack of a quarterback and a tight end makes so much sense. It's just an easy bet that this offense will be really freaking good. Like Herbert, and if you miss out on a lot of the other guys, going with Gerald Everett, like I just feel like we talk about it in DFS, like if this team's going to put up a lot of points, the tight end's usually going along for the ride. Well, it's the same thing in season long. Like if the offense is really damn good, a lot of times that's how we get these tight ends that sneak into tight end 7 to tight end 12.
Yeah, outside of the elite tight ends, like I'm almost always trying to make sure my QB has its tight end on it.
I mean, last year Justin Fields and Cole Kmet both finished as the QB1 and tight end 1 twice. You know, and Cole Kmet was like what, tight end 16 or something like that.
If that happens in week 16 or week 17,
it's the nuts.
Yeah,
it's the nuts.
Yeah, Evan Ingram had a dominant stretch. Like I don't know if he gets the same target volume like with Ridley there, but he really stepped up. Like. If you were to tell me that he competes with Christian Kirk for the second spot on this team in targets, I really wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
Oh, I think you've got it flipped. I think Kirk is the clear one, and Ridley. I could see him competing with Ridley.
Yes, I'm with you on this, Chris.
Tell me that.
I think Kirk and Ridley should be going back to back. I think the markets are way overconfident that Ridley is the clear one.
I still believe in Ridley. I think that
I still do too. By the way, this is not me saying I don't believe in Ridley. I just think
pro
price.
Kirk argument is that he won't be asked to play outside this year. So, like, I think he's obviously much better in the slot. And so, with their depth and stuff, because last year when Zay was banged up and Marv was a shell of himself, he got pushed outside on some weeks, and that's the weeks you saw him kind of flop.
Well, and not to mention that Kirk is a matchup wide receiver. Like if you look at his splits between dominant.
Chris, how do you feel about P Ryan here? Sorry for a little Broncos mini.
I think I'm like off P Ryan.
Okay. Can I throw something in there too? What's Law's by week?
9.
I want to go Anthony Richardson here, and we're done at quarterback probably.
We can do that and grab Pierce.
Wait, I really like Rodgers Wilson. Like we should absolutely
we can go Rodgers.
Stack Rodgers with Wilson.
We could do that. Because we do have the Cooper corollary. Would Rodgers make it back to us?
He's 125, so we're good. But he goes right around Zay Jones. So him or Zay Jones have to go at our next pick. So we can do whatever we want here, though.
Dalvin makes a lot of sense.
I don't like that at all for this team. Let's go Lazard, and we'll take Rodgers on the back and pray Zay Jones falls.
Yeah, one of our next we got to take.
I mean, I think with Dalvin, you're hoping that he lands on the Dolphins, and then like where else?
What if he lands on the Jets? Was my thought.
Yeah,
dude, that would be awful for Brees Hall this year. Anybody
I know it would be awful
for both of them.
I mean, wait, Chris, what's our next pick after 111?
130. So we're gonna need. Yeah. No one else has a reason to take Rodgers because we have Garrett Wilson, we have Amari Cooper, and we have Lazard. So unless like the Elijah Moore drafter or somebody's taking him like totally naked.
You're forgetting about spite, Chris. I think that's you're forgetting that about driving best ball players.
Chris, this room is also
where's
look at all the
Njoku?
quarterbacks on the board. There's still a ton of quarterbacks on the board.
He should be there later. Like what Njoku? Let's see, like 130s, 140s.
Yeah, he hasn't gone yet.
Okay. Well, I'm just thinking like if we're going to lean into the Jets and Browns.
Where did he go?
Njoku? Yeah, he should have gone earlier.
So he's at the one.
I'm not paying that price.
He's got Hurts already. He's got Hurts already. He should have no reason to take Rodgers. I think Rodgers is the one we try to push back around.
That's fine. Let's do it. And look at, like I said, look at the room. There's a ton of quarterbacks still on the board.
Let's push. I like I was making jokes about it earlier, but you're looking at large field contests. I am totally fine with Corey Davis or Jeremy Ruckert in the final round as a differentiator and like BBM.
I love Corey Davis for this team.
Dude, I would not be surprised. Again, we're talking about ranges here. Like I won't be surprised if Corey Davis is the number 2 and it's not Al Mazard.
Same.
Yeah, we can go Zay. We'll go Zay.
All right, so Jags double stack, and then now we're praying.
And then we just draft a bunch of running backs.
Yep.
And
we're done.
I had to go back to this Christian Kirk can't win on the outside thing. I was trying to pull up his.
Yeah, we got to pull up
2.13 yards per out run is not bad.
Where'd you pull that from, Chris?
Well done, boys.
Love it.
My thing is like, okay, Lawrence, we all think Lawrence is going to have this like Andrew Luck type big 40 touchdown season, right? If that happens, like 2 of these guys are going to pop.
Yep. 2 of them are going off.
And I think Kirk to me is like in PPR, I think in half you can make the case for Ridley having more touchdown upside. I'm fine with that. But in PPR, man, I think it's like
I
actually think Kirk probably projects a little better.
So what are we doing? Rodgers if he comes back to us, I'd love if we could go Rodgers and then Tank.
Correct.
Yeah, I like Tank for this team too.
I keep giving Andrew Erickson over Fantasy Pros so much shit about Tank Bigsby, but like I really think it's a real thing, man. Like I don't understand all this pro ETN stuff. Like he was bad in the red zone. Trevor Lawrence does not check down, so good luck with your check downs for ETN stands. Like, I think that there's a way ETN is your in between the 20s guy and Tank is cucking him at the goal line.
I think the myth with ETN is that he was a good pass catcher in college. Really,
he wasn't.
It was 1 year.
He was a dump down guy.
Dude, they forced it. And a good pass catching running back. I'm not a film bro, right? Like I'm not Brett. But when a receiver does this to catch the football at any time, I'm gonna say they're not good at that job. But they forced it, and then of course the Twitter bros were like, "Oh, the marriage between they drafted ETN, so Lawrence will have a safe, reliable check down guy." Like I think the community itself forced the narrative up.
Yes,
for ETN. There was like a weird 2-week stretch where ETN was like the dynasty running back 1 for a while in a lot of circles, and it never made a ton of sense.
I'm going to pull a Barrett here since he's not on the show. Amongst all quarterbacks with at least 150 dropbacks per fantasy points data, can y'all guess who the lowest check down rate in the NFL? Oh wait, it's Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And oh wait, it's the lowest by 2% lower than the next closest quarterback.
So the anti-ETN debate is just that. It's like, okay, we've got to be particularly in tune with upside in the 3rd and 4th round of drafts. And if ETN is just not the Jags offense, it's not ETN's game, I think you can make an argument that ETN is probably priced at his ceiling. And I think
he's priced above his ceiling, Graham. I think you're being nice.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, especially for 3rd and 4th round running backs, we got to be really in tune with upside. And if ETN is capped at 2 or 3, if he's capped at 2 or 3 receptions a game,
Joe Mixon or ETN?
Mixon. Can I say wide receiver? Can I say
but wide receiver.
Can I say neither? Because I don't want to draft either one of those damn dudes.
That's the real answer.
The question is why ETN over Mixon when we know Mixon's at least a legitimate pass catcher and a dominant offense.
I think Mixon is gonna. I think they're gonna work in Chase Brown than anybody that loves Mixon wants to see. I think that.
I think Mixon. I think Mixon's probably wash too.
I
His
think
metrics
Mixon
were
is the
so
new
bad
Uncle
last
Lenny,
year.
and I don't want any part of that shit. And I'm
Yeah.
not chasing him up the board.
But if it's 2 years ago, Uncle Lenny, you're sitting.
No,
pretty
I'm talking
pretty.
about last year's Uncle Lenny, the Uncle Lenny that looked like he forgot how to play football well.
I'm just saying. I
He
think
still
there's a
put up
non.
RB1 weeks last year.
Yeah, I think there's a chance that he's, the
We
2 years.
By the way,
ago
we're gonna make it here, boys. These two guys have 2 quarterbacks in front of us.
Let's go.
you just
Let's
gave us-
go.
You just gave us the kiss of death.
You're probably right.
Cliffhanger's been going on rogue here. He took
Well, he is on a cliffhanger, man. I
he
mean,
took Nick Chubb and then he took
Too many
Cam Akers
Stallone
well
movies
ahead
for
of-
that person.
And now he just took Van Jefferson. There was
Okay.
What the shit are you taking Van Jefferson in the 120s? What are we
that was
doing
a
here?
different team. Yeah.
Drunk drafting?
All right,
nice.
good.
All right, let's go. ham with the running
Rodgers.
backs.
Let's go.
Derek, did the
now-
Tennessee guys move at all for you with the Hopkins signing?
No. Well, Burks I bumped down. I had him as a wide receiver 3. He's like wide receiver 3/4 cusp. Chig stayed exactly where he was. I didn't move him down. I have him at tight end 13. Hopkins I bumped down from I think like wide receiver 20 or 21 to like the borderline of wide receiver 2/3 company. And I bumped Tanny up. I bumped Tanny up to like QB 19 or so, which I was already high on Tannehill. Y'all know that. Like last time I was on here. And here's the other thing. Tannehill's ADP still doesn't make any damn sense.
No, it's still too low.
It's
I don't
still
understand the benching risk that people have.
He's not going to get benched. Why are they signing Hopkins if they want to run out Will Levis?
Yeah.
And we're getting camp reports from OTAs that Malik Willis looked better than Will Levis. Like Levis is not playing this year.
Yeah.
Can we all can we agree on that outside of a Tannehill injury?
Yeah,
He's not going to play.
There's still risk though. I mean, there's still that
Tank
risk.
here.
Tank.
Easy.
Easy tank.
There's still that risk though, and in an opportunity cost game like best ball, that matters.
I will say he definitely probably doesn't have the same level of ceiling as some other late QBs. But
No.
so like if you're, he's good for, especially if I started elite QB, like this guy can get me through with pretty usable weeks.
Yeah,
Here and
like
there.
if you take let's say Jalen Hurts or something early, he's kind of got an early-ish buy, earlier than Mahomes and Allen. Yeah, Tannehill's fine for like a late QB too. I mean, in a tournament like this where we got to have these guys playing in the playoffs. Like there's definitely a narrative here where the Titans just suck this year. Like their team is not very good. This roster is not very good.
But that's what
I
Mike
feel like I
Vrabel
keep
lives
saying
for.
that every year,
I
Graham.
was
I'm
just gonna
like,
say the
how are
same
they
thing.
smoke and
God.
mirrors winning
He
10
lives-
games?
he
I'm like,
lives
how does
for-
that happen?
He
Like,
lives for a 4-win team becoming an 8-win team. That is
Vrabel's the man. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I mean, they're just. I saw some people saying that they got Nuke Hopkins and now they're better than the Jags. And
Oh no,
Let's
good
slow down.
Lord. Well,
Let's
no,
slow
that's too much of Titans Twitter sitting here weighing in.
yeah,
No,
let's slow down here.
because their secondary is still utter crap.
They don't have a
outside of
pass
Christian
rush
Bolton.
either. They don't.
But
Have
also,
they don't have a
let's-
pass rush.
No, they don't.
We're-
And they
we're
won't, well, they don't
also-
blitz either. They're basically like, we live to stop the run. Well, whatever. Let me know how
They win 21-19 every week.
Yep.
I will say,
Henry,
I
get it
think
ugly.
the nuke move is actually kind of a nice boost for Derrick Henry. Like if you want to build
Yes.
a narrative, like
I like that.
they fewer stack boxes. You have outside corners actually taking interest and safeties actually taking interest in Hopkins. It'll be good for Henry.
I
Are
do
you
not
expecting
have
the same
enough.
kind of 28 and a half target share for Hopkins in this offense as well? Is that
No.
kind of where like
I think there's a
Mhm.
significant target share dip and obviously a volume dip. I was
Hopkins is
full
falling
fading
off, dude.
Hopkins.
Yeah,
I was full
same.
fading Hopkins, and I will probably keep that up. I think he
Okay.
should be a 6th-round pick. Honestly,
There's 2 players I've full faded basically the whole offseason. Joe Mixon and DeAndre Hopkins I don't know if I've drafted them, either one of them, on more than like 3 or 4 teams.
see.
Okay.
I loved Mixon when he was going in May in puppy drafts in like the late 5th, early
Mhm.
6th round. I thought he was the nuts there, and now he's in the 4th.
No.
And
You can-
I think you can't make the same upside argument with him.
I think he's
Okay.
a classic dead zone back.
I still have a good. I've been drafting Hopkins a lot. I kind of like him on the Titans.
I think he's kind of cooked, dude.
But he's definitely getting worse. But
his man coverage yards per route run fell off last year. I think that the pro argument. We had Brett Coleman on the show the other day, and his pro Hopkins argument was like, and I like Tim Kelly as an OC. I'm going to throw that out there. So
Same.
I like Tim Kelly a lot. I like what he did because that was Deshaun's big year. I think they're going to move Hopkins into the slot more, and they're going to use Burks as the Z. And so with that, that does give Hopkins, because I still think that Hopkins is a target earner and he could beat zone. My question is if they try to push him outside and they go into like any of this, we're going to go heavy sets and 12 personnel and 2 wide is a big thing for us. Hopkins can't win from the outside the same way that he's always done.
Well, he may not only be asked to run 3 whole routes though, too, which
yeah,
he's
not going to line up on one side of the field.
Backs here real quick.
Right. And play action is going to be huge for them.
Oh, can we take Roshan?
I like Roshan.
I like Roshan.
Please, Roshan.
I think that's the only.
Or Jerome.
Well, I was going to say Jerome Ford kind of matches up.
We'll get both.
We get both. Yeah, Jerome will come back.
Okay.
The guy at the turn has 6 freaking running backs.
Yeah, what is this team? I keep meaning to check it when we come around.
Well, not just that. Him and
McNutty you auto pick and you put it on autopilot and said, "Screw this, I'm out."
McNutty has 5, so it's not even like it's just the one guy. McNutty's going nutty.
Taysom Hill went. This is one of the most bizarre drafts I think we've done.
I got to say, for our build though, this worked out great. I mean, we got some nice backs. I like Biggs.
We
can damn sexy team, man.
I kind of like getting Schultz well after ADP here, even more than Ford.
Ford. We need a back.
No, Ford. I do not. I'm not investing in a tight end.
Because we can still draft Conklin.
We overdrafted Ingram too.
And we can still draft Conklin.
I'm going to talk y'all into some late round Jelani Woods. I'm giving you the heads up.
Please don't. Please.
No, it's going to happen.
No, I can't.
You know what's going to happen, bro?
Absolutely
you know what's going to happen? I love Jelani Woods too, but you know what's going to happen is Mo Ali Hawks is going to score 6 touchdowns. Like that's
they have 3 tight ends.
Don't do that to me. I don't need it in my skull. Don't do that.
Dude. Every single time I've taken Richardson, it's like auto pick Woods in the last round. I
single stack him with A-Rich every single time. Yeah. Like I don't have to worry about stacking partners, man.
This worked out great. Honestly, I really like this running back room.
Yeah, I like this. Because we made big investments into Jacksonville. Like we got 3 tertiary pieces, 3 to Jacksonville, and it's like we talked about. If you're making the bet that the offense is really, really damn good, then all of the tertiary pieces are going along for the ride. Tank is going to be a goal line monster. Evan Ingram eats. Zay is Zay. He's a wide receiver 3, and we roll.
You really do need touchdowns and on Underdog more than like DraftKings and stuff too.
Yep. Yeah, and that is so I haven't played any Underdog in the last like 3-4 weeks. I'll get back in. I just feel like ADP and the rooms got so sharp, as they always do around like July the 4th. Yep. We'll get some new money back in here soon. I've been playing on drafters, man, and it seems like a lot of people are taking the same running back approach that they take on Underdog to drafters. And like I mean, oh my gosh, some of these backs like Ken Gainwell. I think Ken Gainwell should be going in like the 120s on drafters and DraftKings. Like,
yep.
I mean, he's got a legitimate chance to be their passing down back over Swift, by the way. I think he's that good.
You can add Swift. I'm full fading Swift too. I don't know how you feel about him, Graham. I just think his ADP is drunk. Like I don't understand what the range of outcomes for that.
I think his ADP is fair. I just think he has a massively wide range of outcomes, and I think Penny is a little underpriced still, and I think Gainwell is really the one that's been massively underpriced, especially in PPR. And half or Underdog, it's a little bit trickier.
Per fantasy points data, the 6th lowest checkdown rate. Do you know who it is? Oh wait, it's Jalen Hurts.
Let me ask you, from a pure talent level, just like good running back, is DeAndre Swift a better running back than Miles Sanders?
Yes.
No.
He definitely is. He definitely is. Miles Sanders can't catch a ball to save his life.
Well, I thought we were talking running build.
Just overall running back.
DeAndre Swift can't break a tackle. Like I will
what?
throw that out there.
No, he's missed tackle rate. We're gonna have to pull up.
Yes.
We're gonna have to,
Okay.
we're gonna
We
have to
can
check
talk
the
about
data
that.
again.
Hold
We're
up.
gonna-
Hold up.
Use
I mean,
this fantasy points data suite.
that is small sample all over it. If you look at his singular game logs, oh god, I got a filibuster so I can pull this up.
So
if you look, go ahead. You talk, Thomas, and I'm going to pull.
I
I'm
like Chuba
going
here.
to give you your second.
Chuba.
The other thing with Swift too in that offense, you got to imagine with the offense just being #smart with football, they will design more angle routes. They will design more actual routes for DeAndre Swift to run in that offense. So I can't imagine that they brought Swift in with how smart and again #good at football that offense is to just rely on him for checkdowns.
I'm 100% with you on that, Thomas, because they have a role in mind for him. You know, so
right.
people
They have to.
We're looking at this the wrong way. Like they didn't have a player of Swift's ability on the roster last year, so of course Hurts's running back target percentage was lower. All of that being said, though, like Swift, man, like his vision was so bad last year. Like he left so many big gains on the field. I mean, we were talking about this last week with Scott, Chris. Like, there's no one to replace Rashad Penny's role. And like that's why I think he's if you give me 120, 125 guaranteed, healthy carries of Rashad Penny, like I guarantee he's gonna have 4, 5, 6 monster games in there.
If Rashad Penny can stay healthy, I'll throw this out there. He's running for 1,000 yards, and he's gonna have a better season than Miles Sanders.
Conk Daddy here, by the way.
Well, yeah, easy Conk Daddy here. Yeah, but the problem is in that offense, 1,000 yards and like 10 touchdowns was good for like RB. What
21 like Miles Sanders last year, except he's RB 40
in PPR.
Yeah, I like that.
In PPR though, half PPR it ain't gonna look as good. I don't imagine. I can't imagine.
So, Chris, I have a question.
I'll push back about that. If you like, JJ Zachariason put out a really damn good podcast. There is not that big a differentiator between half point and PPR as we think about it, like as an industry. As far as like where they finish on the year, there's not that much difference.
I would agree with that, but the ceiling weeks that you need, in the playoff weeks it's floor too. Massive.
It's floor too, because think of it like Jerick McKinnon when he catches 4 balls for 50 yards with no touchdowns, like he can still register as like a low end RB2 in PPR that week with a few extra carries. Let's say he catches 6 balls for 60 yards, whatever. It's really the floor and ceiling. It's like the tails, the 5-10% tails where it matters. The bulk stats, I agree. Like the middle, there's very little discrepancy.
Are y'all ready for me to deal some DeAndre Swift hate?
All right, yeah, because I'm looking at him being top 8 in missed tackles forced per touch on 150 touches last year.
He's an incredibly efficient player he's always been an incredibly efficient player on a per touch basis.
So if you look at his singular games last year, he's got really like massive outlier games. Like one game he had, and this is specifically yards after contact per attempt. He had 6.5 one week. He had 4.9 one week, 3.2. If you look at like overall his singular game logs, small sample rushing sample like really has propped his ass up, because 64% of his games last year he failed to record over 2.5 yards after contact per attempt. And for everybody out there, like that's dog shit. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Like
he is a quintessential boom bust runner right now. Like
he's a runway back. He is a burst guy. He's a runway back. Like that's why like I don't believe in it. Like over his these are his singular totals. Like so week 2 on 1.8, 2.0, 2.2, 2.5, 0.6, 1.6. Any of this sound sexy? No? Okay.
The argument I think is just I think you should be taking shots, particularly on Swift and Penny and Gainwell, mostly on PPR. There's going to be Eagles, whether it's spike weeks or just a Sanders kind of season where he just will crush his ADP. They're going to run the ball well with somebody, and I think I want exposure to all these guys in some capacity.
Yeah,
I want Penny exposure. That's what I want.
Yeah,
that's what I want. I feel like DeAndre Swift is being drafted like he's going as a top 24 running back. Miles Sanders was RB21. Unless Swift blows it up and he's a top 12 back this year, which I don't really see happening because I don't think they're just going to magically become a check down heavy team with as much RPOs and stuff as they run and Hurts' rushing ability. So like I'm drafting Swift where he maybe, if everything works out, his median outcome or maybe the high range of his outcome, the way that I'll look at him versus RB, like Rashad Penny's going as an RB4 and he
Where
finishes an RB2. I mean, sign me up for that shit all day.
So this is fine with me. Swift going at 86 and Penny going at 101. Like
Yeah, that's about as tight as I've seen it.
I haven't seen it that tight. Penny usually goes later and Swift
110
goes earlier.
Yeah, Penny usually is 110, 115. Swift's
Do we
like
want a third tight end on this team?
Yeah, Jelani Woods.
Scroll. Can I see the backs real quick? Because we definitely.
I mean, seriously, I'm fine with correlating for tight end.
I think we want another receiver.
Yeah.
How many do we have?
6. We definitely want another receiver. Corey Davis is fine. Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, Corey
There's
Davis.
nobody else
into the stack. Roger smashes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's fine here.
Richie James. Scott will never let us draft Richie James.
This is your opportunity, baby. Get Richie James.
If we need another receiver, Terrace Marshall's right there for the week 17 too.
I took Chuba a little bit ago, so
Yeah.
we've got some kind of a run back.
Hayden Hurst is a fine pick here too.
It's wide receiver or tight end for me here. Or yeah, Hurst actually is not a bad.
Well, this guy's got one tight end, so let's see if
who's scroll up, Chris. Let me see. Like I've kind of like I've been on so many rants during this show. I've kind of lost track of like the full build here. Yeah. I mean, I think like tight end, I'm not seeing anybody sticking out that like magically correlates. Although I will say this,
Hurst
Michael Mayer's ADP makes no damn sense to me.
Mayer's going to catch 50 balls this year. It's going to be the sleepiest 50 balls in rookie season ever.
I'm playing for the bat, but for me, I'm playing for the stretch run. If he, if Myers goes down, or he takes, he. All
right, Hurst went. So
that's brutal.
Jelani Woods or Michael Mayer is my vote, but I'm just here so I don't get fined.
We don't need a third tight end.
How many wide receivers do we have?
I think we need one. I don't think we need the 8th wide receiver.
You're right.
I don't think it's going to hit the lineup. Yeah, we've already made correlated bets with like a lot of these guys, unless we wanted to go Josh Palmer for the Denver running back.
No, let's go Jelani Woods for Debro.
Please do it for me.
All right.
Do it for Debro.
Jelani pops and yards per route run against man coverage, and if I'm chasing ceiling for tight ends, that's one of the metrics I'll look at. And plus, like the other parts and pieces of it is that we know he's athletic as hell, and kind of like we were talking about with J.K. Dobbins, everybody's treating some of this. There's residual Greg Roman talk. That tight end room, everybody's treating it like Frank Reich is still there and he's going to roll a domino about who's playing on a weekly basis. That's not how Steichen and Jim Bob Cooter, their OC, has rolled their tight end rooms. They've leaned on one dude.
Yeah,
like
if there's one guy, that's going to be the Goddard. Yeah, if there's one guy that's the Goddard on this team, it's him.
It's Kylan Granson.
God damn it!
Hell no!
Stop it!
No, Thomas. Put yourself a timeout after that one. No, Thomas.
I'm gonna put you in timeout.
You could. I mean, you got.
This is a
timeout, baby boy.
Damn. He was fast on that too. All I saw was the thing go across and said, "Your mic has been muted."
I get Thomas' power here. That's it. I got the power.
18th round, team, boys. Thomas gets all power drunk. Good Lord.
One of the for little inside knowledge, Scott just messaged us in our group chat that he's going to be very pissed if we win a milli without him. One of
no, we're going to win a milli because Scott is not here. That's how that goes. And this team is super sexy.
One of these
Justin Ross and there's no Travis Kelce. This is how it goes, guys.
Well, so one of these drafts where he's not on, we'll have to take Justin Ross as round 18 just in case it's the right thing.
You don't
because watch. No matter what happens, the Millie Maker is going to have Justin Ross on it, and he will be insufferable.
If he doesn't win, if he wasn't part of the
draft.
Just
because, Scott, and I love how he popped that out there. I think it was the last stream or something. Just because he's got the little CEO title doesn't mean you got to bow down and draft Justin Ross, okay? You don't have to. I'm not a company man, so I consider and say that. I get y'all are contractually obligated.
Why do you think I'm so fast on the mute, Derek? I gotta have it ready every week. I gotta be quick with it.
You don't need to even mute him, Thomas. Just keep playing that Omega sounder over and over when Barrett's talking, and it works out fine.
All right, so we finished up the team with
so
Lawrence
good.
and Rogers at
This draft went
QB.
fast, dude.
Yeah.
It did.
Dobbins, Pierce, Bigsby, Roshan, Jerome Ford, Chuba Hubbard at running back, Diggs, Garrett Wilson, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Lazard, Zay Jones, Corey Davis, Evan Ingram, Tyler Conklin, Jelani Woods at tight end.
Can we go and look at where or why Buddy took Hurst and where Deshaun Watson went? Because those were two big keys for us in this draft, and they were taken from us.
So this guy only had I don't know why he did that. He had Kittle, and if you're gonna take Kincaid, you're basically saying that he's
Well,
gonna
you're
be
done.
good.
You're
Yeah.
done at tight end.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
whatever.
I
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
it was for no
McNutty.
reason.
No reason.
And Deshaun went.
He went in the 70s,
Damn.
Jeez, that's just
80. There you go.
no. Because
Damn.
you just see why, because then they took Elijah Moore. They were trying to
He got DPJ too. That's nice.
Yeah,
I've done that
they
quite
were-
a few times.
go in Cleveland. One thing that we kind of got off track, and I'm curious because I want y'all's take on this. What do y'all think about the Chicago Bears backfield? Like, I'm very much into the camp of Roshan Johnson is going to take over eventually, but I need some counterpoints here. I want to know where y'all are at.
I like all of them except for Foreman. Herbert, and I don't know if I've drafted. I may have drafted Foreman like once, but I feel like one of them is going to be. JJ Zachary's talked about this a million times. The ambiguous backfields are good to target because generally one of them outperforms ADP. I'm leaning that it's Herbert, who was super efficient. We've seen him crush in all the efficiency metrics, or it's Roshan, who I think will be their best pass protector and potential pass catching back one day.
Yep.
And those are the two I'm mostly investing in.
That's why I'm on Roshan, man. Is like, okay, you look at that backfield. Who's the one who can play on passing downs? It's Roshan. Who's the one who can pass protect? It's Roshan. Who can also play on early downs? It's Roshan. Like, I think if you're making an upside bet, it's him. Khalil Herbert and Deontay Foreman have
I
never
kind of want
been
who's
pass
cheapest
catch
because they're all kind of LDD running backs, really. They don't really know what Roshan's going to be at the NFL level. I think you're right; he can be the pass catcher, but they're all kind of LDD running backs that aren't special in any way. They're just.
I'll push back about that about Roshan. His tackle breaking metrics in college were really damn good.
Yeah,
small sample because he only got what 80 carries a year behind Bijan, but
And
he
it's
looked
not a guarantee,
awesome.
right?
But
so
every single year he was above 4 yards after contact per attempt.
He was awesome.
Even the small samples, when you stack them up, it's like, oh, that's really damn good. That's really damn good. It's not like he had one year of a small sample that was.
I legit think Roshan, if he had gone to pretty much any other Power 5 school besides Texas and maybe Bama, he would have been a starter.
I think Roshan,
or
I'll double
1A.
down on that, Graham. I think if Roshan wouldn't have snapped his hand at Senior Bowl, he would have been a 3rd round pick because he was on his way at the very beginning of that week to a really good week. He was blowing dudes out of their shoes in pass pro. He looked really good, and he was out of there. He snapped his hand. I think it was day 2.
Day one.
It was day one.
Yeah.
Day one. Yeah, he on a pass pro snap, he buried a dude in the damn ground, and then he came off the field, and we're like, oh crap, what happened to Roshan? Maybe he pulled a hammy, and then we found out that he snapped his hand, and I was like, crap.
Ultimately, that's why Khalil Herbert couldn't get on the field as much as maybe he should have last year, is because Montgomery was their passing down guy, and he's always been good in pass pro.
Exactly right. I'm totally with that. Like, everybody that talks about Herbert taking over last year is missing the point of like, he does nothing on passing downs. He can't pass.
Well, and they loved Montgomery. They loved Montgomery at the goal line too. Herbert, for whatever reason, didn't get a lot of short yardage stuff. That's why a lot of his yards after contact and missed tackles for stuff looks so good. He got like no short yardage. I think that might have been just weird small sample stuff, but
I think we're also looking at.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, I think we're looking at marginal differences as well. If we're hoping that a team that has a player like Justin Fields, we know the correlation between quarterbacks that run that heavy and passing it to running backs on an offense that we're not projecting to be designed very well. I mean, if it's designed like it was last year, it's going to be no fun for anybody who wants fantasy weapons other than Fields. They did bring in more. We're hoping that Fields just changes his style of play to dump off to the running backs a little bit more. That's worrisome to me. So we're talking about a running back by committee, big time, with 3 running backs that are all going to rotate in. That we're hoping one guy gets a marginal advantage because
You're
he
right.
gets a couple more pass catches. I think we're arguing like marginal differences here.
You're right, because the answer here is just draft Justin Fields. Like that's most likely. Just draft him in the 5th round. Like he's probably the nuts. You know,
I'll push back about like the nut case for Roshan is that he takes over. He's the early down guy. I'm not banking on the checkdowns, but what I'm looking at from him, if he takes over the early down, like if you look at, I don't think they're going to rotate in 3 different guys. I'll say this: every move that Chicago has made this offseason, I think they are fundamentally changing their run game scheme. When like you have guys coming in here and everybody, we were all kind of talking about they were going to run more zone last year. Even if you go to like Darnell Wright is more like an Orlando Brown type. He is a road grader. He's a gap guy. Like you're not going to put him out on the edge or move him a lot. Like he's a mountain of a man. Then they signed Deontay Foreman. I think that this run game scheme is going to go more gap. It's going to go more inside zone. And those are not the strengths of Khalil Herbert. He's a zone runner. So you're looking at like they brought in Deontay Foreman. I think he fits the run game scheme. And then they draft Roshan, who is far away the best passing down back. And I'm not expecting a lot of targets, but with that, if he could prove that not only like he could be David Montgomery this year, except better. So like, I don't think that there's like, I think there's a path for Roshan to take over, and I'm not really banking on the targets. And if you add all of that in with the way that I think they're going to change the run game, I don't think we're going to see like Khalil Herbert's ADP makes no sense to me.
It's a good argument.
Yeah, I just think we're just hoping for the best tasting shit sandwich on the team.
That's so
and
blasphemous to Roshan.
And I just think there's not only other backs that you can get around their ADPs that are probably going to be better, but there's a lot of hope and prayer there. So I will just say that I'll just take the cheapest one. As
the old Patriots backfield method there, Thomas.
100%.
Why?
I'll take the cheapest one.
Did anybody just notice that Kendre Miller, despite the news, did not drop an ADP at all? Like he just went where he usually goes.
It's weird.
It's not injury related. I saw a tweet from Nick Underhill.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah. Well, he had the meniscus issue?
Yeah, he had the meniscus and the surgery and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
it may be something off the field. Hopefully everything's okay with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
I
not
bet
injury
you
related.
I bet you he does drop. People double count stuff like that all the time in the best ball world. Like
you want to talk about an ambiguous backfield. Thomas, you're probably right. One of these 3 Bears backs, like not one of them has to hit. Like it could very well be all of them split like 675 yards.
Right.
One Saints back is going to hit. I feel very strongly about
that.
One of these guys are going to freaking smash. Like Kamara, Williams.
That's why I'm smashing Kamara, dude. Like Kamara
scares me because of Kamara scares me twofold. One, there's the suspension risk. I don't think it's anything more than 4 games, but all of his efficiency metrics have really fallen off. And then they just finally brought in some backfield competition.
Do you want me to blow your mind here, Graham?
Please do.
What's
I'm looking forward to it.
What's the difference between take the suspension out of the equation here? Look, what is the difference between drafting Joe Mixon and his efficiency profile versus drafting Alvin Kamara? They're the same.
Kamara. Kamara's
offense is better.
Kamara's is better. But one offense has Joe Burrow. The other offense has Derek.
One offense also has the easiest strength to schedule in the NFL.
Yeah. For now.
I hear you. I mean, Jamal Williams, though, will be a factor somehow, some way in the red zone in most games. Same with Taysom Hill. I think there's a lot of cause for concern with Kamara.
Well, I could say
he absolutely could smack. Like we could see Kamara in kind of like, back in a vintage like 2017, 18.
I just think Kamara could be Uncle Lenny this year. Like just the volume in the past. Basically, he's last year's Joe Mixon. But I'm willing to make that bet in the 90s and the 100s.
How many games would he have to get suspended for you to say he's not a good pick?
6 or more. I think he's going to be at 4, and I honestly
4 at most.
I won't be surprised if like somehow that gets taken down to 2. And like we also got to remember the Saints are religiously one of the most tight-lipped organizations. Like you don't hear about guys getting suspended and shit like that until after like they're ready to go to arbitration. Like, you remember when the Ingram news came out and then like it was like, oh, he's going to be suspended. Oh, wait, he's already gone to an arbitrator like twice already before we even heard about the damn news. Like, so I think that Kamara's ADP is pricing it in that he gets suspended like 6 games and that he's totally fully cooked. And I'm not going to say that he's not cooked, but I think that the context of the offense, some of the Taysom Hill stuff is this them trying to manufacture some type of offense some way. I think we could see a more traditional offense this year. And if it's better, if the strength of schedule stuff holds up, I just think that his ADP doesn't make sense. It's more of like people are assuming he gets suspended for 6 games instead of 4, or maybe they take it down to 2 or 3.
Well, and I think how much of it too, so for me personally, I don't really care about the suspension almost at all, because unless they're suspending him during the fantasy playoffs, I'd have no, it's just saving him. It's saving him a couple of games. The issue for me is, are they going to finally let him be a receiver again? Because last year it was frustrating watching him hammer him up the A gap and the B gap just over and over and over again, and not using him the way he's meant to be used.
That's what Jamal Williams was brought in for, and drafting Ken. They don't want Kamara to have to be that guy.
But remember, Jamal Williams in Green Bay, good pass catcher. Jamal Williams in Detroit wasn't allowed to be that.
Good is a little bit of an overstatement.
Hey, he was good enough to be fantasy relevant.
Serviceable. I'll say that.
If Roshan's
that's like my Miles Sanders
Jamal
debate,
Williams is like,
that's like my Miles Sanders argument this year is like, they're telling us he's going to play in a 3-down role. They have no one else to be the passing down back. Chuba stinks. He caught 50 balls his rookie season.
What happened to his pass game, man? Like, it was like,
he was good coming out of Penn State,
remember,
too.
like, I was like, holy shit, like, Miles Sanders is going to be good. He had 1 point, I think it was like 1.4, 1.5 yards per route run in his rookie season. And then he goes,
well, he had a really bad drops problem. What was it? Not last year, but the third year, I think.
Third year, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. He was still playing with Wentz. And then they switched to Hurts. No, it was the second year. Second year, he had all the drops. Then they switched to Hurts and stopped throwing running back. So
yeah, and then his yards per route run looked like Dwayne McBride last year.
Yeah. No kidding. We're going to take a quick second. When we come back, we're going to get everyone set up to get out of here and enjoy the rest of their Wednesday night. Sit tight. Man, great time. And again, a little bit of the bonus. I kind of like that. A lot of disagreements, a lot of the back and forth, right? We're need that.
That went too fast. I mean, I'm totally down. We could just do another draft, guys.
I'm ready.
I'm just saying.
I'll refill my water. Let's go. Let's go.
The guest pushes the show to 2 hours, and Thomas, it's okay, Thomas. You can go eat dinner. It's cool. It's cool.
I am hungry too. It's okay.
It's not even about that. I have a meeting with Trey tonight still. Okay, so we gotta, we gotta
get you off to that. We gotta get you off to that.
I'm just saying.
He's got more important things to do than sit here and listen to us talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
I got work. Hey, Graham has
you
said
say more important things.
Twice.
I say winning a milli is pretty important, but that's just me. Whatever.
See, my night's good. Graham has said that I was correct twice, which means like that's my affirmation in this space. That somebody, I gotta pick my wins
before the pendulum swings back.
Yeah, 100. I'm gonna say something too far, and it's just gonna completely.
Well, we disagreed about DeAndre Swift. I still think Miles Sanders is better than Swift.
I've already been muted once this show. I feel like my quota of 3. I was going for at least 3 minimum, but whatever.
3 minimum. Oh, well, you still got time. Look, Derek, again, you. The more and more I get on air with you, the more and more we seem to have a great time, and I love that. You obviously have a ton of work popping off over at the Fantasy Pros. What do you have for the people?
Oh man, I just finished a few different articles. I've got my perfect draft article, which literally I think is like 30 or 40 players deep, going through everybody I'm basically high on this year, as well as I'm working on 2 more nerd-alicious articles. I've got one in the pipeline right now about offensive scheme changes. So looking at which teams could run more, pass more, run more in the red zone, pass more in the red zone this year. and another one looking at top-down stuff from just game scripts. So teams that played ahead a whole lot last year, that if that regresses, what does that mean for the offense and who benefits? So yeah, man, lots of all the things and stuff over Fantasy Pros.
No, we love that. Chris, let's tell the people all about what we have going on with the data tool this week.
I don't think anybody's talked about it yet. No.
It's in my quota, Derek. We're about to get that third mute real fast.
I'm trying. You still haven't done it.
Oh, buddy, you got time.
But yeah, data tool is live, free all this week. After this week, you can sign up at any point. You'll get a 7-day free trial, I believe, and then it's $50 for the whole season after that. That is 75% off of the normal $200 price that it'll be for 2024. So it's costing nothing. It's 2 BBM entries. Do 2 less of those. This is like playing the lottery anyway, and get yourself the data subscription. We're going to be constantly adding to it. We're currently working on multiple new tools already to try to get up before week 1. It's already got more things you can do with it than anything else out there on the market anyway. I know Scott's working on a bunch of tutorial stuff. Graham's already got pieces coming that highlight some of the new stats in it. Pretty much everything we're doing now is going to be powered by this data tool, and highly recommend checking it out.
I already worked in data points from the data tool into the 2 articles that I have going live tomorrow. So
there you
That's why
go.
we love you. That's why we love you.
I have been, my mouth has been watering over this damn data suite for months. Like,
no, it's the truth,
ridiculous.
man. Like I've been doing this for 10 years, and it is so fucking cool to say, we have this on our site. Like, by far the coolest research tool. Chris, like, you have to take a massive bow, dude. You, Chris,
Seriously.
Speedy, Chris, Brock, all you guys, man. I hope you guys have popped some champagne this week. Take your ladies out to dinner. Do what you need to do, man. Enjoy this week.
You just told on yourself. You didn't watch the launch show, did you? Because we literally popped champagne live. Like, you're telling
no,
obviously.
Obviously,
Yeah,
I
and then
did.
none of you losers drank any of it. Like, what the hell?
You gotta have a Percy party too. Come on, Percy parties.
I told you were gonna get it.
That's two. Okay. Yeah, Barrett pops his champagne and then he goes and grabs a beer, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Like,
even at the end of the show,
Michelob Ultra
Scott's getting
too. Like, he didn't
roasted.
even go like a good beer. Like, he was like, here, I'm gonna not drink champagne, just drink beer. Like, what are we doing? But to be honest, like, I could wax poetic about this data suite, and I obviously don't work here, but like, I think that what y'all have created is a fantastic thing, because at the end of the day, what we're doing is not only trying to help people win fantasy leagues and best ball and all that kind of stuff, but the other side of this, if you want to push this to NFL talk and even the general NFL fans, other part of what we do on a daily basis by creating content and illuminating this stuff is that we're trying to make people better, like, as far as like more knowledgeable NFL fans.
Right.
Like, you can do that in 10 billion different ways, and from the top down, or going through 75 filters to find the most in-depth shit that maybe nobody cares about, but you're sitting over there like, oh.
Look, it's the micro edges that can set you apart from everyone else. And if there's one thing that I've learned so far in my time being with Fantasy Points, is that there are a bunch of ways to get those edges, and this tool is the biggest one that I have yet to see.
You're a micro edge, Thomas.
Oh, thanks. I'll take that. I mean, that's.
I was hoping to get the third mute. You didn't even mute me after
here's
that?
the thing. I am the micro edge because I am the difference between Fantasy Points and everyone else. You better believe it. There's only one of me, Derek. So take that. Hyping up my ego. It doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. I'm going to use it. Till next time, we'll see everybody next week right back here for Fantasy Points Best Ball Breakdown. Get the data suite.